Hey everybody, it's Jim here, and today we're going to be checking out a budget-friendly tube amp, and this is a very interesting one because it's available under different brand names. This is the Stage Right version. I've also seen it as Monoprice and also as a Harley Benton product. The Harley Benton one has the Harley Benton logo on it. The rest appear to be just the same as this. It comes with a Celestion speaker. It comes with a built-in reverb tank, which is pretty cool, and an effects loop. 15 watts, you can switch it down to 1 watt. That's how we're going to be demoing this today. But how is it? How has it been? I've had this for a little while now, so I can give you a little bit of an idea of that. And is this something that's worth your money, or is it something that you should potentially avoid? We're going to try and do this in real time here. We got the Telecaster. This is the only guitar that we're going to be using for this. I do have the Strymon Volante plugged into the effects loop. When we are using it, you will know. Any other reverb will be from the amplifier itself. And as far as drive goes, we're going to see what we can get from the amp, but we're also going to see with the clean tone dialed in, how it does with the Benson preamp in front of it. So let's get started. So right now we're going to start off with all the EQ at the standard middle position here. We have the volume at around 3. We're going to increase that as we go along, and the gain is all the way down, so we get barely any sound. Let's crank it up a little bit and see how much it takes to actually get this thing juiced up. That's it. 1, 2. Now I'm able to talk over that tone, and it's honestly not bad on its own. But we'll put up the volume a little bit more. Now we have the volume at 4. We'll do the same kind of thing. Honestly, that sounds pretty darn good. So let's go ahead, we'll put the gain up a little bit to 3. I'm very interested in seeing how quickly it's going to start breaking up with the single coils on the Telecaster. So. Four. A little bass heavy at that point, but I'm on the neck pickup of a Telecaster, so can't really say anything against the amp with that. That's just kind of how things are going to operate. I do notice that it does start to break up right around there with the single coils, so if you're going to be using humbuckers, once you get to around 5, I'm guessing you're going to be full on kind of overdriven sounds. But let's try that with the Tele here. We're right around 5, I'm going to go right back to the bridge pickup. Actually cleans up really nicely. I do appreciate that once we have this little bit of gain dialed in here, if I can manipulate the volume on the guitar itself, it does clean up pretty nicely. Let's push it a little bit more with the gain before we explore some of the EQ and also the reverb. Now we're at 6.5. That's actually pretty good. Volume slightly up to 5, and we're going to push this to 8. We're really seeing the full range of the gain that's available from this amplifier. And one thing I do want to reiterate here that I said at the beginning of this video, we are on the 1 watt mode. So this is already, it's not screaming loud in the room, but it's enough to push around and you'd be very satisfied with the results of it. It doesn't sound weak by any means, but knowing that if I push in that switch when we go to 15 watts, it's going to be a whole different animal, that's pretty cool. Neck pickup, that's pretty rocking, man, gotta say. So finally here we're gonna go full on gain and see what this bad boy's all about. It's gonna be a lot, I know. Not my style of music at all. I'm sorry about that, you guys. So as you can see, this thing does have a decent amount of gain built into it. So for a lot of people that say this is a blues killer, a blues junior killer, so to speak, I mean, this kind of already shows it has a little bit more than that up its sleeve, and that's all down to tube selection. However, I'd like to hear how this reverb sounds, and we're going to compare it a little bit with the Strymon Volante through the effects loop. We'll start with this right at 3. We'll turn this right back to around 3 on the gain. The volume is still at 5. A little bit of that after tank here. Crank it up a little bit more. We are at 7. Starts to get really drippy. I like that. Let's crank the reverb a little bit. I just want to say something real quick because I feel like I'm hearing something. It almost felt like there was a little bit of extra gain or perhaps compression that was added when I had the reverb dimed compared to when I had it straight up clean, like the guitar was breaking up a little bit more. Let me know in the comments if you're hearing that too, or if I'm just crazy. Anyways, pretty decent reverb on this. I feel like it's really subtle until you get around 5. That's all for taste though. It's nice to know that this has a real tank in it. Not all amplifiers, especially at this price, are going to have tubes and a reverb tank. So you can't deny it's actually pretty thoughtful of them to include that. And now, with the EQ here, there's not a whole ton for me to go through. We do have a master tone, we have a bass, we have a middle, and we have a treble. The tone of it, if we jump it up a little bit, we'll see if we can get the neck pickup to sparkle a little bit on the telly. That might help it. You could hear there, it actually does a pretty good job of making the neck pickup stand up. But another way that typically, if your guitar amplifier does not have a tone knob on it, what you would do is you'd boost the high end or the treble. So we're going to try the same things here. We'll have the tone knob back onto neutral, and we'll go about a very similar exercise to see how much we can kind of clean up that neck pickup. In the other direction. Dimed. So again, we can see that the controls are actually pretty useful on this amplifier, which is not always the case. And I know it's going to seem like right now I'm giving this a glaring review. Believe me, we're going to get into the full scope of things once I'm done with the actual playing. We turn the amplifier off. But yeah, I have to give credit where credit is due on this thing. Let's try out the low end. We'll go to the bridge pickup because if we add any more low end to the neck pickup of the Telecaster, it's not a good recipe 99% of the time. So let's just try that. Let's try with the bass roll all the way back, and then we'll gradually increase it. prime it. I almost hit the Benson, but I had to remember the bass is cranked up at 10. That wouldn't have been a very good comparison. So the bass tone works pretty good as well. I think the only thing we haven't explored so far on the front panel of this amplifier, outside of the 1 watt to 15 watt switch, is the middle. So let's go ahead and we'll try that really quick here. We'll do the same thing. We'll start all the way down in the middle position, and then we'll crank it all the way up. That was a 3, 5. Now to make this fair, because someone in the comments is going to say you were finger picking on that last one before you dimed it, so it's going to sound way brighter, and you'd be right. More or less. Alright, push it up a little bit more. I think we're going to get into the really trebly category here. We'll finger pick one more time. So yeah, all the controls actually function on this amplifier. It's impressive, I know. Something actually operates in the manner it's supposed to. Before we go any further, we'll turn off this reverb real quick. We're going to check out how this thing sounds with the effects loop and with the Benson, and then we're going to talk about it. So, just want to say first of all, I appreciate all of you people that watch this and hang out with me. And I know that this is a kind of interesting demo that we're doing today. It's not of the typical fashion. So what I've done right now is I have the Volante set to a strange setting that I've just made with my feet. So we'll see how it sounds. We'll do a clean chord here with just the baseline tone that we're at so you have an idea, and then we'll check out the effects loop. Dry. That's not the amp, that's just the amount of wear and mechanics I have on the Volante right now. It sounds really cool, so. We'll have it just set to reverb. Now we're going to add in some of the Benson, and we'll see how it works together here. little bit of noise coming from the amplifier. It's hard to gauge though because it's kind of loud in the room, but it's I don't know. I'll have to listen back and double check that, but it did seem like we were getting a little bit of clicking, which could have been from a jack not being all the way tight or something like that, but these things do happen. It could just be a cable connection. It has nothing to do with the guitar amplifier itself. So yeah, it actually sounds pretty good with that. And real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to go on and off. We're going to turn this all the way down as far as the echo goes, and it's only going to be on reverb. We're going to compare real quick with the same settings at 50%, the reverb that's built into it versus the reverb, which is also a spring reverb emulation from the Volante, and we'll go from there. So, to begin with, this is from the amplifier itself at 5. Turn it off. Now this is the pedal. Okay, so that was from the Volante, and honestly, we're not going to dive too deep into that comparison, but just wanted to give you a general idea of this reverb tank actually sounds really good and is more than adequate. And that is the point of this video, where we are going to end the actual sound demonstrations of it. So I can go ahead and turn this thing off. Now, there are two things that I think are worth knowing before I give you my full thoughts on this amplifier. I've had this for over a month now. And the reason why I was kind of happy and hesitant at the same time to demo this thing is because I wanted to see how it would hold up in that time frame, whether it would die or not. And I'm going to get into why in just a second. But in the case of this specific amplifier, it still works just fine. It has been moved around a little bit within the room, as you would have seen. It's not been in the background of all the videos. It's just been kind of hanging out, getting played in the main living room as well as in here from time to time. And I haven't had any problems with it. And the second reason is because I feel like it gives me more time to get to know a piece of gear, and I'm not just coming to a snap judgment call, which I know sometimes you know right away if you have something really good, but other times, especially when I'm talking about things that are on the lower end of the spectrum price-wise, I do want to make sure that it's going to be something that, at least in my case, did survive at least the time that I've had it, and it did do that. So $260 is the price you're going to pay for this thing at Amazon, and it is pretty convenient knowing that you don't need to leave your couch, your computer desk, wherever it is that you plant yourself in your house, and have this thing within a few days. Most of the reviews on Amazon's website are very good. I believe it's a 4.6 out of 5 stars with over 1,000 reviews. However, I'm the sort of person where I click on that and I go immediately to the 1-star reviews, because I want to see the people that are unhappy, because I want to see why they are unhappy. There are 2 warning flags to me when buying this from Amazon. The first is, as recently as last month in July, somebody bought this amplifier and the warranty would not be met by the manufacturer of this. They said, no, we're not going to honor it. And that really sucks, because he had only had it for, I believe, a few months, and just total no support whatsoever. That is $260 down the drain, because this is not an amplifier that is going to cost you, $10, $20, $30. It's going to cost you more than that in just bench time if you go to somebody who's actually qualified to do a repair on this. And at that point, maybe you might have been better off buying a different or better amplifier, so to speak, to begin with. The other common complaints that I've seen are some of the switches just stopping working, the amp itself going dead after a few hours of usage. But these are things that are down to quality control, and they're going to slip through the cracks. Again, I want to reiterate, with over 1,000 reviews, this is the minority, but these are things that could potentially happen. So I like to get those pitfalls out of the way, and I would like people to be aware of them. Not that this is just all happy, smile, product, gonna last you, it's gonna be perfect. I mean, that's not always the case. That's not reality. And when you are making things at scale and on a lower end with the components, these failures are going to happen, which is why I'm going to say this. I think this amplifier does sound very, very good. With the 15 watt mode enabled on this thing, you'd have no problems clearing a drummer, taking this out for smaller gigs, and way more than enough to jam with your friends in your garage, your basement, whatever you wanted to do, and you'd be just fine. I think it's great that the effects loop did come with this amp to begin with. A lot of amplifiers in this price range that are tube amps are not going to come with that, and then it's a full tube design. All the key components, the recipe to a great amp, exist within this amplifier on paper, so to speak. The production process is obviously vastly different to the other tube amps that are behind me, as far as the Friedman, the Vox, and the Tone King Gremlin. But I mean, you're not paying that kind of money for it, so it's, again, to be expected. What I would do, I mentioned that there are a few brands and retailers that do sell this. We've talked about Amazon and how the majority of the reviews are really good, but we do have some potential lemons and some potential warranty issues with the manufacturer not supplying replacements or honoring the warranty. If I wanted one of these amplifiers and I was going to purchase one new, the way I would do it, first of all, I would only purchase one new, because then you have a shot at having a warranty claim. If you purchase it on the used market, odds are they're not going to warranty you without a receipt. I would buy it from Tolman. And the reason why I say that is not because I have an affiliate link with Tolman. I do. If I really wanted to make use of that, I would be telling you to just all buy Pink Tacos or the full version BE100s, because those are actually selling for a ton of money, and I would get more money out of doing that. The reason I would tell you to buy it from Tolman is because their customer service is far better. In my experience dealing with them, they have never given me any sorts of issues with any sorts of returns, with any sorts of credits, with any sorts of repairs that have needed to be done, with anything that I have ever purchased from them. That is just a straight up truth. And they're just a gigantic place in Germany. They've built a reputation on having really good customer service. So if I wanted this amplifier, it's going to be the same exact thing. You're going to get the same amp, only with the Harley Benton logo on it. That's the way I would do it. And at that point, I'd at least have the peace of mind knowing that in case I did get a lemon, which does seem to be the minority, I want to stress that again, but if it did happen to me, I would have the company behind me of Tolman that would make it right. Whereas some of the people with Amazon, apparently, they're very unhappy and they're not going to get a resolution. The last thing I would like to do would be to recommend you something, you buy it for a few $100s, and then it's dead, you can't fix it, you can't sell it, and you're not getting a replacement from the manufacturer. That just sucks for everybody all around, and I don't want to do that. So if you did want to purchase this, that's the way I would go about it, because I can't think of any other retailers that sell this off the top of my head that aren't just Amazon. If you do know any, you can feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'm all open to hearing other people's experiences with this amp if you also do have it. But all in all, it sounds better than it has any right to sound for $260, $270, even $300. I mean, it's solid. It really is solid. Is it a Blues Junior killer? I would feel much safer gigging a Blues Junior, even though it does not have quite as much gain on tap available to it. It does not have the effects loop built into it. I'd still just, the quality-wise, I'd still rather have the Blues Junior. But if you're just playing at home and you want a really good sound, then you want to take the risk, or you're comfortable making some repairs on your own, which is not like a guitar. You really need to know what you're doing, because an electric shock can kill you if you screw up with an amplifier. Then by all means, I'm rambling. That's where I'm going to leave this. Better than I expected. Be wary. Just of potential problems, as long as you know that going into a purchase like this, and it is what it is. And again, I would recommend, if you are interested in this amplifier, buying it from Thomann and purchasing it new, so that you do have an opportunity, should you need to use a warranty, exchange, or return if you don't end up really digging the thing to begin with. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you found this enjoyable. I hope you found this useful. If you did either of those things, please do me a favor. Leave me a like, leave me a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel if you do enjoy the content that I provide for you guys. I do my best when I can to give you things that are at least a little bit more worthwhile, and I felt like doing this way, almost all in one cut, specifically when I was doing the playing demo, was the proper approach. Yeah, I might have repeated a few licks here or there, but it's real time. I'm not just cherry picking the best possible tones. It's how you would enact with this amplifier. If you were here with me in the room, you'd experience the very same things in the same exact fashion. Just as honest as I can possibly make this for you guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy, everybody. That's a miracle that I got that done in 38 minutes. That is a miracle.